All right, we're now going to work through this example here. We're starting with the fraction 3 on 50, and we need to turn it into a percentage, and we need to turn it into a decimal. If you're feeling comfortable with this, you might like to give this a crack yourself, and then just flick through the video and make sure you got the correct answers. All right, let's now work through it. So if I've got 3 on 50, and I want to turn it into a percentage, how do I do it? Well, remember, I've got two ways of doing it. The first way is to multiply by 100, and this always works. So I start with my fraction here, and I multiply it by 100 over 1. All right, now I simplify this. Well, I can simplify it this way. I've got 50 and 100. Well, I know that 50 goes into 50 once, and 50 goes in 100 twice. So that means what I'm going to end up here is 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. It's going to end up being 6%. 6%. Now, the other way to do this is to create an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. Now, this only works if you can make the denominator 100. Now, in this case, we can, because if I've got 3 on 50, I know that I can make that denominator 100 very easily, simply by doing this. I can times this by 2, I can times this by 2. So that means what I'm going to end up with is 3 times 2 is 6, 50 times 2 is 100, 6 on 100 is the same thing as 6%, because it's 6 out of 100. All right, so that is turning a fraction into a percentage. What we're now going to do is turn a fraction into a decimal. Now, how do we do this? Well, again, we've got two different ways of doing it. The first way is to divide the numerator by the denominator. This always works, but I actually dislike it. So I really dislike doing this, and I prefer to use another way, but it's good to know this way because it always works. It always works. All right, so I've got 50 divided by 3. So 3 on 50 is the same thing as 50 divided by 3, and I'm going to make it 3.00. Okay, now we're going to do this. How many times does 50 go into 3? Well, it doesn't. 50 is bigger than 3, so we put a 0 there. We carry the 3 across. And remember, this decimal place just gets carried up. Then we ask ourselves, how many times does 50 go into 30? Well, it doesn't, because 50 is bigger than 30. So that means this 30 gets carried across. This now is 300. So we're looking this now, that now is 300, and we put a 0 on top of this, right? Because 50 doesn't go into 30, so we put a 0 there. Then you carry the 30 across. How many times does 50 go into 30? It goes in 6 times. So as you can see, what we're going to get as our decimal is 0.06. And that should make sense from 6%. 6% as a decimal is 0.06. Okay, the other way to do this is to make the denominator a power of 10 using your knowledge of place value. And this only works if you can make the denominator a power of 10. So this actually is going to be the same working out as we see here. So I'm starting with my fraction, and I'm going to try to make the denominator a power of 10. Well, to do that, I would simply multiply the top and bottom by 2, and that's going to leave me with 6 on 100. Now this is 6 hundredths. So it is 0.06. So just like that, we're done. And that's how you do it this way. So remember, you need to know all of these ways, but also if you're getting a good intuitive understanding of these things, then you're golden.